everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily and this is the Astro Library. Long time no see. Your girl has been busy. She sort of dropped off the face of the earth for the past month. My bad. I truly did not mean to take as long of a break as I did. When I say that my oral exam consumed me and was giving me the most stress, your girl was going through it all of November, and literally up until last Friday, I've just been like on lockdown mode. I've been running around doing things, prepping last minute, and I had zero headspace to record videos, to do anything. And I tried. I've had 2 or 3 videos that I've scrapped just because as I was recording them, I was not in it. I had zero headspace for reading. I had zero headspace for like getting the videos actually to be content worthy. It was just a mess. But I thought the most fitting thing to do for my first video back would be just an update to return to some of my roots and my classics, which is a good old reading wrap up. But it's also just kind of mixed with like an update. Where have I been? What have I been doing? What have I been reading? Because I have somehow managed to squeeze some reading in despite the fact that I was supposed to be preparing for my exam. Procrastination at its finest, folks. But hi, hello, how have you been? I hope you've been great. I hope you've had some good reading time since I've been away. I hope you've relaxed. I hope you're not stressing out too much about the holiday season. I have a nicely decorated background behind me at my tree, and you can see some of my trailing lights from my mantle. I did so much cram reading, and I was literally trying everything under the sun to not only relax, but also to make sure I was prepared for this exam. Your girl did it somehow, some way. I used quite a bit of procrastination tactics. Like I was decorating my house. I did that with my roommate. I ended up painting this wall behind me a different color. It's been a lot. It was not fun. Do not recommend to anyone, okay? It's almost a form of academic bullying, if I'm honest. But I am so happy it's done. I have passed. Your girl is now ABD, which colloquially means a big fucking deal, but more actually means all but dissertation. So all I have left in my degree is to write my dissertation, which can go anywhere to like 300, 400 pages, and then defend it, and then your girl will graduate and become a doctor. I'm gonna celebrate while I can before I have to really dive into that process. I have to resubmit my dissertation prospectus with some revisions in it, but I have 90 days to do that, so I have plenty of time to at least take some time off the shit show. I want to read 1 book this month because every year in December I read nothing because I'm always stressed and running around for holiday season, and I'm already looking at my schedule and it's so packed, but I'm gonna read 1 book. What book that is? I don't know. You'll have to come to reading sprints. Let me actually get to this main part of the video, which is my reading wrap up. What have I been reading since we've been gone? I remember I did a poll a while back and you guys were like, we missed the reading wrap ups. You know what? Me too. And I am so happy to say in 2026, they will be making a return. Every month we will have a reading wrap up. We're just gonna go off the stack I have right here. I do not have everything physically. I did do some audiobooks, of which I don't own. These aren't going to be in any order. I'm just going to pick them up as I go. Starting right off the bat, If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio is following our main character, Oliver, who is just getting out of jail after being in prison for 5 years, I think. I'm not quite sure on the timeline. He's been in prison for a while over the murder of Richard, one of the former friends in this group. And so we're trying to figure out what the heck happened back then, because as Oliver is telling us that he is not actually the one who did it, that there is more to this story that was never revealed. And so the book jumps back and forth between Oliver talking to his arresting officer and telling him the full story, and then going back in time to his senior year of college and what actually happened that led to Richard's death. This is a beloved book. Okay, a lot of people like this book, and I can see why. I can see why this book would grab a lot of people. It's got the atmosphere. It's got just the right level of niche, I think, to like really draw people in. I think especially if you were a theater kid, you would love this book. Me? I listened to this on audiobook. And first off, this is the only audiobook I've ever listened on 2-point speed, and that shit was still slow. I don't know what the narrator was on, but when I tell you, every time I would increase the speed, I'm like, did it even go any faster? So safe to say, I did not have a great time with this book. And I think it's twofold. One, I think the narrator just was ridiculously slow. But two, this is not a long book, and it feels like it meanders through most of it. Like, we're supposed to have like this really cool murder mystery plot. We are, and I don't care about the person who died at all, which I think can really work. Like, who cares? I don't care why, who killed this person, to be honest. Really, he had it coming. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But then we have to like trip through this weird fucking romance aspect where Oliver is caught between two love interests. And I have to say, the relationship this book tries to get me to care about the most, I feel is the most frustrating aspect, because they're not like a great match, nor do they really have a ton of chemistry that we get to see. It is told to us over and over and over again, but we don't ever really see it. We see more of the other relationship, which is the one I actually root for and like. And yeah, I'm stuck with the one that's supposed to be the most important. I did not have a good time. I did not have a good time. I wanted to have a good time. I think a lot of people can have a good time with this, but I was frustrated. I think also it's just the most pretentious little, like, these are the most pretentious little shits in this book. Like, every character was just the worst. And like, I think some of it is just like the nicheness of this. Again, I think if you're a theater kid, you'll really love this, but I found these people obnoxious, like beyond, and they're supposed to be to a point. There are a lot of rich kids at this very rich, pretentious art school, but I was just reading this, and as someone who's in academia and is a hoity-toity like nerd, I'm a different type of nerd. I'm a different type of nerd than a theater kid. I was never a theater kid. I think that led me to not connect with them as much, and they rubbed me the wrong way. I ended up giving it 2 stars. Not a big fan. I do still think a lot of people will like this. So if you've been really interested about this book and you like Shakespeare and plays and kind of messy relationships, I'd pick this one up. The next one I read is actually a series. I started a new series, and I started first listening to this on audiobook, and that is Guild by Raven Kennedy. So this is the Plated Prisoner series, and this is the first book, and it's pretty short, pretty manageable. So this book follows our main character, Oren, in what is a King Midas retelling with a little bit of like a Beauty and the Beast situation, where Oren is a gold-touched woman who is kept as the king's most prized possession. And we are following her life as she is discovering that maybe this gilded cage she'd been in is not so pretty and safe after all. That's all I can really explain what this book is about. It is not a captor-captive romance, so if you're not into that, don't worry. I'm happy to spoil that for you. It is not a captor-captive romance. The love interest I actually really like. He's great. Love him. This book is so deceitful in like what it's setting itself up to be. I wouldn't call it dark romance. It's got dark elements in this book and in the second book for sure, but the romance that's actually the heart of the story is not dark. Throwing that out there, if you're worried. I picked this up entirely on a whim. I think I'd went on Libby and I was like, what audiobooks are available now? Your girl just needs something to listen to as she's driving, cleaning, whatever. And I picked up Guild because I remember a lot of people talking about this and a lot of people really liking it, even though, and I'm gonna warn you now, this first book is not representative of the entire series. And in fact, I would give this A Court of Thorns and Roses treatment, where it's really mainly setting up the world, introducing you to some key characters, but other than that, this book's kind of useless. Is that my favorite thing? No. I don't like reading books that are supposed to be useless in the concept of the world or the concept of the story. I think if you're going to give me setup, it should be in your first book and should only be a small portion of it. But that's a different take and a different video. But what did I actually think about the series? I had a good time. Even with all my frustrations in Guild, which I think is just an okay book, I had a decent time. It's very much a smutty, spicy series. Like this opens up with like an orgy. Let that be your warning. Raven Kennedy is a smut writer. She is very much erotica. And I think that's fun and fine. And it made for a really easy listen and a very easy read, because I ended up going on and reading 2 more books in this series, which I'll get to each of my thoughts individually about them. Surprisingly, I thought I was gonna just listen to this first book and be like, I'm done. That was fun for what it was. Get me out of my slumpy mood I've been in. But I actually found myself really connecting with the character and like wanting to know what was gonna happen. Everyone in their mother said, okay, you have to at least get to book 2. So that is the mindset I went in, and that made this book a lot more tolerable, I think, especially because I was listening to it. I find audiobooks to go much faster than if I was physically reading this, and that really helped. So I think if you're like wanting to try out the series, pick up the first book on audiobook. And if you find yourself kind of vibing with the characters or like with the plot a little bit, definitely pick up the second book, which is actually Flint. I was not gonna buy this series. I had 0 plans to actually own it. I thought I was gonna get them from the library, I was gonna do the audiobooks, and it was just gonna be a fun time for as long as it lasted. I could not find this book anywhere. She was impossible to find, okay? She was not available anywhere. I couldn't get the audiobook anywhere, and I didn't want to like buy the audiobook. How much would it be if I actually just bought the book myself? And I ended up buying the first 3 books in paperback, and I was like, you know what? Okay, let me go ahead and give this one a physical read. When I tell you that I flew through this book, oh my God. I had so much fun. Everything that I kind of liked about the first book, it started picking up pace in this second book. The characters were more fun. The plot was getting a lot more interesting. It was really cool to see our main character kind of break out of her shell and to discover more. Do I think this was the best written? No, I still think there's a lot of issues in its pacing where we have moments that are really slow that don't need to be, and we have really fast moments that make development of like characters and relationships seem not as realistic, but I still had a lot of fun. Like I told you, I flew through this book and the next book. I think I read this book and the next book, which you'll see is so much bigger than this book. 3 days tops. And I think it only took me that long because I had to set these books down to go to work. Okay, I mean, I picked up these books and I did not want to put them down. I physically had to stop myself from picking them up. God, it was great. It was the first time I've like sat down, like binged a book like that fast and like devoured it. Oh, it was great. I had so much fun because of that. Would recommend this book, and especially the third book. Now I told you she is huge. Like, hold on. I need multiple hands to do this. Compare these books, okay? Compare the size. Book 1, book 2, book 3. She increases in size. Okay, she gets the From Blood and Ash treatment where they just start getting chunky. And even with how big this book is, I still flew through it. And that's just because these books are so easy to read. They're fun, they're smutty, yes, but also they give me the same vibe like I would get when I would read YA back in the day, like just devouring their characters and the atmosphere and getting to see our character grow into her powers, become a badass. We all have that moment. We all have like the romance. We're like, yes, give me more. That's what I wanted from this, and it was giving every second. I ended up buying the next 3 in the series because it is a 6-book series. I have not started them yet. I want to start them. I will be starting them soon. They will be picked up in January. I know myself. But these first 3 books, so much fun. I would say if you're feeling slumpy and you just want a fun read, give the series a shot, okay? I think consistently each of these books have been 3.5 to 4 stars. So they're good times. They're not bad times at all. I don't think they're the best writing. Don't go in it with that expectation. But I definitely think it is on the upper end of these kind of like smutty fantasy series that have been going around, the romantasy. I think they're better written in that case. They have more plot going on than just the romance. So I'm really curious to see where it's gonna go after the events of this third book, because shit like flew off the handle. I'm curious to see what we're gonna do for a major like antagonistic plot, because things have changed. We have to have new stakes going on, and that gives me excitement. For the last of my physical books, the book I picked up is one I told you all I was gonna pick up. I said, you bet your bottom dollar it's gonna show up, and guess what? It did! This is The Eternal Ruin by Tigist. Now I know how to say her name. Girma. And this is the sequel to the Immortal Dark book, which I read in October. Y'all, I thought the first book left me on the worst cliffhanger. When I tell you that if I see Tigist Girma, it's on sight. Okay, she did me dirty so bad in this book. Oh my God. Don't let me discourage you. I had so much fun reading this and getting a chance to return to Immortal Dark after that cliffhanger and seeing where everything's gonna develop. It was so good. It's such a great series. This is one of my new favorite series of all time. I loved Immortal Dark. I really enjoyed seeing how we got to push these ideas more and more. And I really enjoyed getting to hear Tigges talk about this book because I went to the signing at Vroman's in Pasadena, like the week this book was released. Getting to hear her thought process was so fascinating. First, that this was sort of kind of born off of Twilight and her wanting to write a vampire romance, like girl's name. So happy. I love the dark turns we get in this book and the real emotional struggle we see with Kitten, who is still such a badass. As much as she's going through it in this book, like, dear God, this woman needs a nap. She needs a hug. At the end of this book, which I knew was coming. And I think is why I dragged my feet with this book as much as I did, because literally at that talk, before I had started reading this to any sort of extent, or maybe like a chapter or two, we were told that the cliffhanger was brutal. She was not lying. The cliffhanger in this is brutal. Do not recommend going into this if you need something happy. She's not the one. She's not the one. But if you want some pain, if you want some great darky, atmospheric world building, high stakes, and the romance, oh, the romance is so good. The romance is so good. I love the tension between our two characters and as their relationship develops further. Oh, that ending though. If you read it already, you know my feeling and you know why it's on site, Tigges. You know why it's on site because of what you did. So many things. You did so many things to me in this book, and I loved and hated every moment of it. I believe I rated this book 4.5 stars. It was great. It was a great continuation. It does not suffer middle book syndrome because there is another book coming out, the last book in this series, which I need it now. Miss Tigges, please. I would say this is definitely not middle book syndrome. So far, we'll have to see when the third book comes out. The series just keeps getting better and better. Highly, highly recommend. My favorite reads of 2025 by far. Expect them to show up in the end of the year wrap up that will be coming out, I believe, at the end of this month. We have 2 more books to talk about, and they're both audiobooks and I don't own them physically, so I will throw up a picture here or here. I don't know where yet, but one of the ones I listened to, and I actually did this through the graphic audiobook, which is something I've never done before, and I don't know if I will do again, if I'm honest. It was fun for what it was. Did not have the best of time. In fact, I found it sometimes a little distracting from the story itself. But that was a book I said I would never read, and I ended up reading Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Y'all are not gonna like me. Y'all are really not going to like when I say this book was terrible. Terrible. Guys, legitimately, guys, it's so bad. Like, not even the story, okay? I could harp on the story for a million different reasons. But at the end of the day, I see why so many people love it. It's got all the elements. It's got a romance, it's got cool powers, it's got dragons, it's got a female lead who is there. But guys, oh my God. I tried so many times to turn my brain off and just enjoy it, okay? To not think too hard, not think too critically, to just absorb the book for what it was, to let it be this like mindless read. I couldn't because the writing is so bad. The writing is so fucking bad. I cannot stress to you how much when I am trying to turn my brain off, her prose and her info dumping would just rip me out. Every time like there's a turn of phrase or a character line, I was just like, what the fuck did they just say? And I have to rewind it and go back and no, they really just said that. I'm talking the levels of we see this person across the room and like we get some description and then, oh, that person is so important and they're important in this way, and this way, and here's their history and here's how this pertains to the world. Stop. I do not need to know all that information right then and there. Tell me when it is pertinent to the plot, not lazy world building, because that's what it was. It was lazy world building. I see why people eat this up because it has all the markers, right? A tense attraction between the two characters. They're on opposite sides. he's tall, dark, and handsome, and she's weak and frail. But there's no connection. There's no believable connection. The only thing that I actually believe between these two characters is that they want to fuck each other, okay? That is all I've gotten. That is all you've allowed to develop, because you will not actually give us the time for these characters to develop this relationship into a believable stance. It's just not there. It isn't. And I'm sorry if you love this book and it feels like I'm attacking you. I'm not. I pray that you enjoyed this book more than I did, because you know what? That's all what reading is about. Enjoying things for your own sake. I love that for you. I could not stand it. It was not for me. I could not stand it. I would literally talk to anyone who would listen how much I hated that book. And yet it still somehow ended up at a 3-star. I might have to revisit it to a 2.5, just because even though I think this story is interesting enough, I would rather claw my eyes out and cut my ears off before I listened to or read another bit of Rebecca Yarros' writing. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Okay, we have much more talented Black authors like Tikas Gurma, whose writing is phenomenal, okay, who actually knows how to do a tension-filled romance. Not getting nearly as much screen time or publishing or favor in publishing because, you know, reasons that I'm sure every single one of you can guess why. The last book that I read was Serial Killer Support Group by, I hope I don't mispronounce your name, but I believe it's Saratoga Schaefer. This is a thriller book, focuses, as the name implies, on a serial killer support group, where we have our main character, whose name I have forgotten. I picked up this book. One, because I was, again, on that What's Available Right Now audiobook. And two, I saw it was like recommended on my Spotify and they're like, oh, we think you'd like this. And my first thought was like, I've read that book already. No, I had not. I was thinking of Final Girl Support Group by Riley Sager, Riley Sager or Grady Hendrix? I was thinking of Final Girl Support Group. And you can see the two covers on screen right now. They're insanely similar to each other and not that far off in terms of name. And so when I really looked at it, I was like, wait a minute, that's a different book entirely. And I read the description. And essentially we're following our main character, Syra, whose twin sister has been murdered. And she cannot let it go. And she feels like the police are not doing enough. And she gets wind that there's actually this serial killer support group in, I believe it's in New York or New Jersey. And she decides she's going to infiltrate it and figure out who potentially killed her sister. Okay, that's the plot. I was like, all right, I'm game. This sounds like a short, fun time. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of liked it more than I like Final Girl Support Group, if I'm honest. I feel like the writing is better. My biggest complaint with Final Girl Support Group was that it felt like it was trying to chase the slasher genre. Like it was an homage to it, like a nod to that genre. But because of that, it didn't feel like, how do I put this? It felt genuine in its love, but I feel like it didn't add anything. It just felt like a rehash of the things that I already like about the slasher genre and slasher characters. And that's fine for what it was. I didn't have a bad time reading that book. Serial Killer Support Group gave me a character and a plotline that I could become more invested in and root for my character more. I really liked the direction the book took. Still had a really fun time. I do feel like it dragged in certain moments, but never long enough that I became bored with it. I actually ended up reading this book fairly quickly, I think in maybe a day or two. And that was purely just me listening on the way to and from work or showering. So I got through this very quickly and was continually interested in it, even when the slower moments hit. I wanted to know who was responsible behind the sister's death. I wanted to know how she was going to get herself out of this situation. And all in all, I had a good time. Really enjoyed it. Was surprised. I would pick up more from this author. I think I don't know if it was her debut novel, but it's definitely the first book I've read of hers, and I want to know more. I want to know if we get some more queer-centered romance in any of her books. I don't need it to be the main focus, but more elements of that I think would be cool. I ended up giving this a 3.5 stars. It was good fun. Because it is a thriller, there's only so much you can do to keep your reader interested for a long time. And I feel like it knew that and would rush through moments a little too quickly when we needed it to linger a little bit more. But again, never to a super bad detriment. I also think the ending was way too fast. But if this is the author's first book, do recommend. I think like I said, I think it's better written than Final Girl Support Group, if I'm honest, which felt very cheesy. This one felt a little cliche at moments, but I think that goes like cliche in the good way for the genre. Like it felt like a thriller. It felt kind of like that mystery element, and I enjoyed it. Those are the books that I've read in this past month that I've been gone. I think it actually have been like a month to the date, which again, my bad. Did not mean to disappear on you guys for that long, but I am back. I do plan on holding sprints tonight, and more or less, I think for the rest of the month, there may be a skip at the end of the month and maybe on Christmas. I have to double check like what the calendar looks like because Christmas is on a Thursday, so I might be okay. But the end of the month might run into New Year's. I don't know. I am here. I have planned a video for every week of this month. So you have this video, obviously, but you have 2 more coming. One of which is the kind of finale to Serial Killer, which I think will be fun. We're going to rethink Serial Killer in the new year. I'm not scrapping the series, but I definitely think something needs to change because it really affected how I was reading this year. And I don't think in the best ways. In fact, I think it severely limited what I was reading and made me slump a lot more than I normally would in the year. And we have at the end of the year wrap up. And I am going to be doing a personal curriculum recommendation because I've been seeing that pop up a lot more and more. And if you are embarking on a personal curriculum or doing like the 75 hard or the anti-brain rot challenge, check out that video. That one will be coming out, I believe, not next week, but the week after. So if you're looking for stuff to add to your New Year's TBR, that will be there. Also for 2026, I'm going to cut back on the number of vlogs that I'm doing. Mainly it's going to go to like a monthly vlog to maybe 2, like monthly, maybe occasionally a bi-monthly vlog also. But I want to incorporate more videos I can just record. So you guys get more content. I can get back into a swing of a weekly schedule instead of a bi-weekly schedule. I'm going to start a new series about coming along and writing a dissertation with me. It's coming February because I'm taking January off. We have a book haul coming up. I have content planned. So now that I finished my exam, I want to be getting back into the swing of making content a little bit more regularly. While it was nice to have an extra week to produce stuff, I feel like what I was producing I didn't have as much fun. Even though I had more time to theoretically create more, I just didn't have the headspace and didn't enjoy what I was doing because I felt like I was doing the same things over and over again. And I feel like you guys also felt that and that came across in the videos. So first off, thank you for sticking around if you have. I want to go back to my roots and have some more sit down videos where we chat. I want to do fun little challenges and just like one-offs that are easy to film but also easy to film but also fun and kind of like different sorts of content. All of that will be coming. I am finalizing the schedule. We'll be switching our sprint days as well. I might go to Fridays, but that's to be determined. Your girl still needs to tweak things here and there. But we're going back to a weekly schedule. So there'll be more content coming in 2026. There will be the return of the monthly reading wrap-ups. There will be more sit-down videos where we can chit-chat and talk. I'll get back to recommendation videos. All of those things and more to come. If you stuck around this long, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it or want to show some support, go ahead and leave me a thumbs up and a comment down below. Let me know what you've been reading, how you've been, what's been going on in your life. Feel free to use this as a place to just dump if you need to. Or if you want to support but don't know what to say, go ahead and leave me a black heart emoji. Let me know you were here. Let me know you care. And I love you all. And your girl has to go pick up some paint from Home Depot because more projects are going on at this house. But that's going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoy this video and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!